Hey, what's up guys, Nalon here, and today I'll be going over the balance changes, the brawler balance changes. I'll be going everything to do with the brawlers, and yeah, I'm just going to be going through all of their balance changes and explaining them and stuff, and explaining like what effect they will have. And yeah, this video will just be covering the brawlers, and I'll make another video covering the game mode balance changes, and also, you know, if there might be a few new brawlers and like remodeling and stuff. So yeah, that will all be in a different video, because, you know, if I did it all in the same video, it'd be like, you know, a 30-40 minute video, so that would be just too long. So yeah, today will be all brawler balance changes, and there should be another video out very soon explaining the game mode balance changes and like the sneak peeks and stuff. And we'll be going through all of the balance changes in order from like the new section in Brawl Stars. I'll be leaving all of the timestamps in the description, so if you want to just listen to like about Leon's balance changes explained, then you can just look in the description, and I'll have the timestamp there, so you can just like skip to that bit. So yeah, we'll be starting off with Nita's buff. So Nita's star power the healing is increased from 300 to 500, and this is a 66% increase. And I think this is a really good buff for her, because like her star power really wasn't that great. Like, if a bear were to hit someone, it's just 300 health. It's not like that big of a difference and stuff. But 500, you know, at that point it starts to have an effect and stuff. Because what would happen before is that a lot of the time, like, the bear wouldn't even hit someone. So now, you know, if Nita hits someone, the bear's healed by 500. So, you know, the bear has a lot more power now, and I think this is a really good buff for Nita's like star power. And yeah, the next one will be Brock's star power. It goes from 240 damage to 300 damage. So Brock's star power is once he shoots a rocket, like where the rocket explodes, there's fire on the ground, and anyone who walks over the fire takes 240 damage, but now it's 300 damage. So it's a 25% increase. So yeah, like, Brock's star power was okay before, but, you know, it wasn't the best star power, because, you know, it's quite a small area where you'd have to walk over, and the damage wasn't even that much. But, you know, now that it's 300, you know, it's a nice little buff. It's not game changing, you know, it's not going to change whether he's in the meta. It's not going to really change like his place and stuff, but, you know, still it's a nice buff for him. And Bo, next one, Bo has a pretty big, you know, change and stuff. I think it's a really good change in my opinion. So Bo's star power goes from 6 to 4 tiles, and this is a massive decrease. This is a 50%, no, not 50%, like 33% decrease in his star power. And like normal brawlers, they can see 2 tiles into the bushes, and now Bo will only be able to see 4. And I think that's really good, because, you know, 6 was just far too much. You know, he could see so much that, you know, and other people couldn't see. And the other thing that he's getting is that his main attack damage, so like his arrows, will go from 420 to 480. And this is, I think this is an amazing thing, an amazing like buff, because what would happen is that Bo really wasn't that good. He was like quite a weak brawler. He didn't do that much damage. You know, like he just wasn't a very powerful brawler. But then once he got his star power, that's a completely different story. You know, he was one of the best brawlers on like some maps, of course, like on Snake Prairie in Bounty, on Cavern Churn in like the Showdown, and, you know, 1,000 Lakes as well. You know, he was just amazing there because of his star power. So, you know, at level 9, he would be, I don't know, an okay, you know, lower brawler who isn't great, didn't do that much damage. Once he got his star power, one of the best brawlers in the game on some maps. So it was just too big of a change and stuff. So now they've made his main attack more damage, and his star power like less sight into the bushes. So like it's a lot less of a big change and stuff, which I think is really good. Because, you know, it was just bad having him bad brawler, level 9, star power, amazing brawler. Like, it shouldn't be like that. So now the changes are smaller. And yeah, the next one will be El Primo. El Primo's buff. His star power damage is from 600 to 800. So when El Primo used his super, there will be like an area of fire where he lands, which, you know, if anyone walks over it, they take 600 damage, a bit like Brock's one. So yeah, when he uses super, there'd be the fire there. Now it's 800 damage instead of 600, and I think this is a really solid buff, because, you know, El Primo at lower level, he's already really good. You know, there's no need for a buff to him at the lower level, but at the higher level, he isn't really used that much. Like, he isn't a popular brawler at the higher level, so the buff to his star power will only affect the higher level players. You know, he'll still be the same lower level, but he will be better higher level. So I think this is a really good, you know, change for El Primo and stuff. So it makes him more viable at a high level, you know, not that much. You know, it's not a big change or anything, but still it helps. And Barley has a massive rework, slash buff. It's a buff, it's a big rework to his super. So yeah, his star power goes from 200 to 300, and what his star power is that every time he shoots like his bottle, he gains 200 health, but now he'll gain 300 health. So that's a 50% increase. That's really big, because Barley doesn't even have that much health. He has like, at max level, he has 3,360 health. So like each bottle will be doing like 9% extra to his health and stuff. So if he throws all of his like main attacks, that's 27% more to his health. So that's going to really help him out a lot and stuff. That's a massive like star power buff. His star power was already good, so this will just help it out even more. And his main attack goes from 600 to 640, which is a 7% buff. So 40 extra damage at like level 1, and 80 extra damage if both of the enemy walks on like when the bottle ticks, as well as like the impact and stuff. So it's a small buff. Like it's a small buff to his main attack. It still helps out. It's still a decent buff, but it's not going to affect it that much. But with his star power, it's a pretty big change overall. But then we get to his super, and basically his super, he can't shoot it all in one area. There's a much bigger spread, so you can't shoot it in one area at one brawler who's right next to you, and bottles do not stack anymore. So say you shoot like, I don't know, 3 bottles in one area, the enemy will only take damage from like 1 bottle's worth. So like before, for Barley, he could throw all of his bottles in one area and just do 3,000 damage, since he threw 5 bottles and stuff, 3,000 damage every second. Now if he were to do that, he could only do like 600 damage each time. So it's a massive nerf to his super. And in Heist, he's no longer as powerful as he was before. He can't throw all of his bottles onto the safe anymore. He can only throw 1 bottle onto the safe. So yeah, he's really not as good in Heist anymore. So like Dynamite will make more of an appearance in Heist now, like as an alternative to Barley, I think. And the next one is a buff for Poco's star power. It goes from 400 like health increase to his teammates to 500 health increase. So it's a nice little buff. His star power wasn't great before, and so like he really didn't help out that much. Now he helps out 100 more. It's not much, but it's good. It makes him more of a healer. So yeah, I think it's a good buff for Poco overall and stuff. Now yeah, it's not going to change much, but it's definitely going to help him out. And the next one is a pretty big one. It's Darryl. This is going to help him out so much. Okay, so his star power goes from 30% to 40%. So what would happen is that as soon as you use your roll, your super with Darryl, if you have his star power, you would take 30% less damage for 3.5 seconds. So like you'd have, I don't know, that gold thing around you, and they would damage you 30% less. But now it's 40% less for 3.5 seconds after you use your super. So you can roll in to an enemy and you take 40% less damage if the interaction with them. So it's like 3.5 seconds is enough for a fight between someone else and stuff, like close range. And his main attack does 20 more damage, from 260 to 280, and that's like an 8% buff. So it's going to really help him out more. Now he can roll in, he'll have more protection, and he'll do more damage. So I think this will make him a really good brawler. Brawler that a lot more people will use. And thing is, before the buff, he was still a pretty good brawler if you could use him correctly. So now those people who have mastered Darryl and know how to play him the best will just like have a great time just destroying people with him now with his buff as well. And yeah, so he's going to be a really good brawler now. If you haven't started playing Darryl, I would definitely recommend starting to play him, because he'll just become such a good brawler. And the next one, I don't know why Supercell did it, but it's a buff to Tara's star power. Her star power affects the super. So the Shadow does 200 more damage, so 200 to 400. So the star power is when she uses her super, once the super like finishes, there's like a shadow of her that just like comes out of the center and like had 2,000 health, moves really quickly, and does 200 damage to enemies and stuff. So like it wasn't a great star power, but it still was sometimes annoying and stuff to deal with, because you'd have to like spend your ammo on it and concentrate on it. But now the shadow will do 400 damage instead of 200, and 400 is like a lot, you know. If it gets 2 shots off, that's 800 damage and stuff. And it's also got a health buff from 2000 to 2400. So after Tara, she uses her super, like her star power, a shadow with 2400 health that does 400 damage will come running out and attacking the closest person. And you know, her super was already, you know, the best in the game before, maybe like joint with Frank's super. So you know, I really think they should have done this. You know, she would just become so good now at high levels because of her super. But you know, like so yeah, her super was already overpowered, but you know, they'll definitely have to nerf her in the future. So I guess it'll all come back like even and stuff. Okay, so the next one is the big one that everybody has been waiting for all this time. It's the Leon nerf. Okay, his super is going from 10 to 8 seconds. And some people are calling this, you know, a significant nerf. I think it really won't affect that much, you know, his super. You know, just personally, when I use Leon and I go invisible, I never use the full 10 seconds. Like, I use the super so I can sneak up on someone and eliminate them, and that does not take more than, like, you know, 5-6 seconds. So you know, the 2-second nerf to a super won't affect me that much. I don't think it'll affect that many players, but you know, it might affect high level players where like, they use the invisibility to hide and avoid a situation or something. Like if they're being attacked at, they go behind a wall, use their invisibility, it might help out in that situation. But for me personally, I think it's a pretty small nerf in that like case. And the other nerf is going to be a decrease in damage from his main attack. So it's an 8% decrease, goes from 500 to 460. So it's a fairly, you know, large decrease, I guess, since he shoots 4 fidget spinners, and like so that's 160 damage less overall. So you know, and if he spams all of them in one go, that's 480 less damage, which I guess is, you know, pretty big like damage nerf. Like 480 if he uses all of them. You know, now the tanks that will have it will be a lot easier for the tanks to attack him, because what would happen is that, you know, Leon could sneak up on a Bull and shoot him 3 times and kill him, and Bull is like the close range brawler. But now Bull will have, you know, it will be a lot easier for Bull to counter the Leon, and you know, yeah, Leon will just do less damage overall, which I think is really, you know, it's a good nerf for him. You know, it won't make him a bad brawler by any means. He's still a good brawler, still, you know, definitely a very good brawler, but just not as overpowered as he was before. So yeah, it's a good change. And the next one is Mortis. This is a good buff for him. You know, Mortis is very underpowered. You know, his damage isn't great, but now there's a buff to his damage by 100. So he used to do 800 damage at level 1, now he'll do 900 damage. So that's a pretty big buff and stuff. So that will help him out a lot when he's, you know, trying to hide around, when he's trying to take out low health targets and stuff. Because his the people he tries to take out are people like Colt, Barley, Brock, Ricochet, you know, all the 2400 health people and the 2800 health as well. You know, he'll try to take those out. So this will, you know, greatly aid him in doing that and stuff. So it's a good buff for him. And there's a buff to his star power as well. He gains 1800 health when he kills someone, instead of like the green skull appearing. Because what would happen before is that when he killed someone, there would be a green skull that appeared on the floor, and he would have to go pick it up and then he would get the health. But now as soon as he kills someone, he immediately will get 1800 health. So you know, that's a good buff for him and stuff. Because if he kills someone, he would have to go back to the place where he killed that person and then get the skull. But now he will immediately have that health increase. And kind of a similar thing for Frank, for his star power. When he killed someone, there will be a purple skull that appeared, and when he goes to pick up that purple skull, he gets a 40% damage increase for 10 seconds. But now he will just get that immediately once he kills someone, which, you know, it's kind of a nerf slash buff. You know, it's not, it will help him out in some cases, won't help him out in other cases. Because if he just kills someone, he might be on low health, he doesn't want to go fight someone else, so that skull is used for waste. And, you know, he could have just saved that skull for later when he has to fight someone, go pick up the skull and then go to attack that person. But, you know, if there's someone, you know, near him who's going to push him after like that, Frank's killed someone, and then he immediately has that skull instead of having to go back and pick it up, then I guess in that case it would be a buff. So, you know, it will help out in some cases and also be a waste in other cases. So yeah, that's not really too big of a change. And then the final thing is Ricochet. His damage will go from 280 to 300. I think this is good. I think this is a really good buff for him. You know, it doesn't help out that much. It's small buff. It is very small buff. But if like all 5 of his shots hit, that's an extra 100 damage, which really isn't that much. But people would just simply use Colt before, and now that Ricochet has this, you know, 20 damage increase, you know, Ricochet will be more viable and stuff, and people will stop going like, oh, well, I'll just pick Colt and stuff, you know, I'll just try Ricochet, you know, why not? He has this damage buff, he might actually be pretty good now. So I think this is good. I think they should have maybe increased it by a tiny bit more, maybe like 280 to 300, no, 280 to 320. So like 40 damage increase, I think would have been quite good for Ricochet. But you know, like, because 20 isn't that much really, it wouldn't really affect him. He still wouldn't be, you know, a very good brawler, but it will help out, so you know, that's good. So yeah, I went over all of the brawler balance changes and stuff. I'll be going over the gamer balance changes and the new brawler, you know, speculations in my next video. So yeah, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.